Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. Today I'd like to look at how the US E-minis unfolded yesterday. That was February the 7th in the USA. This is MTPredictor 6.5 and I'd like to take a look, let's say, how the US E-minis unfolded yesterday. This is a 3-minute chart of the ES, which is the S&P 500. And as you can see, we had a lovely decline coming down here. So first thing, wouldn't it be nice to have caught that decline? Well, in our training webinar yesterday, I looked at how we used the 15-minute chart, and there was a DP resistance on the 15-minute chart. But what I want to show here is the last swing going down to the low. And this pivot down here, or this swing down here, is the last swing down to the low. So to get a resistance area, we come to the DP, so we choose swing high or low, we come back to this pivot high here. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough. This high here, and as you can see, it puts a decision point area on the chart where we want to be looking for resistance. So as the market opened yesterday, it gapped up and then went up into this high level here. Then we had a red sell reversal bar. So that is the initial indication that we should be looking to enter a short trade because we'd gapped up and gone into a resistance zone. Our initial target would have been the DP from the prior low down here, which is right the way down here. If I right mouse click, put the risk reward analysis on, again this is really easy, by just a couple of mouse clicks you can see that our position sizing was suggesting potentially to sell 3 contracts for an initial risk of less than 2% of a $20,000 account, and our target was down here for a potential plus 7R profit. So this looks like it would have been a good trade. As you can see, the market took us into a short position here, and then market started to climb down nicely. Now what was the nice thing is there were several users in our MTPredictor users in the webinar yesterday who actually took that very trade, who actually took this very trade. So it's good that to see MTPredictor customers learning how to use the software and as such taking good trades. The only slight complication was when we had an automatic setup arrive here at about 10:45 EST, that's New York time. So what I suggested in the webinar is we could have protected our profits by looking to stop and reverse to a long trade here for a potential plus 3.7R. So even though it wasn't at the main target, we had standard traders in the room, so I was suggesting take a plus 3.7R profit here. And that's what happened, and also to go into a new long trade. But what happened was this long trade was actually stopped out. You can see if I put the analysis on, this long trade went long here and then stopped out for a minus 1R loss. We all know that losses can and do happen. Every professional trader knows that, but the minus 1R loss was small when compared to the plus 3.7R profit. But we still had a little way to go before we were reaching this target. So what one user suggested, and it's something that we teach as well, is we could have placed what we call a continuation trade, in that we knew that if the market was going to go past a low made at our typical wave C WPT, which is here, odds on it is going to keep on going down. Now when we looked at this in the webinar, what we did is we, rather than using the ES because the pivot here wasn't very nice, we actually swapped to the YM where there was a similar buy setup here. So we actually swapped to the YM and said that if the YM was to go down to our same decision point target down here, we could then place a new short trade. This is a continuation trade below this low. We had a nice little pivot high here, so we have our protective stop above here, and there's our target down there. And this is suggested by one of our users, which is a technique we do teach, and it's not one of the standard techniques, but it's a continuation trade, on the idea being the trend is continuing in the original direction. And if we go forward, we can see that the short trade was now entered, never stopped out, and the market started to decline, and actually then wiggled around there, kept on wiggling, and then reached our level a bit later in the day. So even though we were stopped out here on our short trade on the ES and then took a -1R loss, coming back in on the YM here for a continuation trade, then put plus 4.7R in the bank. So if we add that up, 3.7 minus 1 plus 4.7, so that's plus 7.4R. And that was from all the trades that we were looking at in the room yesterday. So just to review that, it was on the ES, it was short from the high down into the TS3 buy for a plus 3.7R. It was then stopping and reversing for a -1R loss. Yes, losses do happen. It was then moving over to the YM to then take the continuation trade down into our original DP target that we had right at the start for another plus 4.7R. And this was a good example of how you can get additional trades above and beyond just the automatic setups by the advanced techniques we teach in MTPredictor, particularly in the MTPredictor training webinars. This just shows you that we have many advanced tools that people don't see when they just see the automatic setups. In other words, the software is far, far more than just the automatic setups. We have some lovely tools in here and some good trade strategies in and around them that are above and beyond the automatic setups. Let's go back to the ES and see what unfolded for the rest of the day. Let's have a little look at this, just zoom this in a bit. So there we were, catching the high of the day. The market came down to this decision point, if I just clear this off, but the market actually made a nice decline down, so wouldn't it be nice to try and catch that low? STF is red but diverging, so one way we can do this is to look at the Elliott waves, another module within the MTPredictor software program. So here, if we choose swing high or low, come down to this low pivot, can you see that the low of the day came right in at our minimum wave 5 WPT with a great looking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave pattern. Where is the target after a wave 5 low? Well, it's the DP from the wave 4 high. So if we click on DP, click on the wave 4 high, can you see that that is exactly what the market did? If I zoom in a bit, the market went from our wave 5 support zone here at our wave 5 WPT to then go up and go right into our decision point level here. If I put a potential trade on here, coming right up to that high there, there was a potential plus 2.8R trade a bit later in the day there as well. So add that to some of the positions earlier and you can see that it was a very, very good day for the MTPredictor customers. If you were a standard trader, you would have had two losing trades here, one off this and one off this, and then gone up for the TS4 sell at the end. And if we actually put the risk reward on at the end, you'd have been on the close of the day for plus 1.5R. So even a standard trader would have been about break even for these trades here. -1 plus 1.5 is just minus 0.5, so only a small loss. But do you see how that when you go above and beyond the automatic setups and use the tools in MTPredictor, we were able to not only catch the high of the day on the ES with our DP short, but also get a trade down into a potential setup. Yes, there was a bit of messing around with that setup, but we then had another continuation trade down into the low. The Elliott wave module then managed to catch the low of the day perfectly, and then the market unfolded just as we teach in our trading course, where we get a rally up to the decision point high for another long trade, then an ABC TS4 sell at the end for another small profit. So overall, the markets did unfold extremely nicely, and it was a very good day for the tools in MTPredictor, particularly the more advanced tools and the strategies that we teach in our training webinars, where we show you how to get the most from the software and actually be able to use these tools to catch highs and lows just like this. So if you think that you'd like to be able to catch the high of the day and then the low of the day and then also the corrective high here, come in, have a look at MTPredictor and see what you think of MTPredictor in action.